Hello, welcome to the second day of May 2025. I'm at the corner of Minami Kansen and this other street, right next to the park I was headed to. Actually, I was going to go a little further down, but I decided to stop here because look what I found. This is rare, okay? This vending machine has a whole bank of drinks for just 100 yen. Look at that. Including some that I really like the Cafe au lait. They even have the bigger cans over here. That's nice, iced cocoa. Interesting. So I'm gonna get myself, I've got my 100 yen coin. I love 1 coin drinks. I'll put that in the slot. And I think I'm gonna try the, wait a minute, how come it didn't go through? There we go. I'm gonna try the golden drip. Good morning, Heather. Look at that. See the music? Okay, I got my golden drip. Okay. For me, a drip. Hey, good morning, Missy Boo. And good morning, everyone. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you. So, got my coffee. Thank you to all of you, my YouTube supporters, my Patreon members. And I really do appreciate it. And just those who watch the videos as well. You guys bought me this coffee this morning. I'm headed over to the park right over here. This is the train station. Is it flavored? It is. This is the golden drip. Well, it's like sugary. It's like sugar and milk. It's like milky, sugary coffee. And it's cold. It's a cold can. This is the Minami Kansen. I'm sorry. This is the Kinrin. This museum. That name right there says Kinri Bijutsukan Mai Eki, the train station in front of the Prefectural Art Museum. There's no sound. Wow. Heather, can you hear me? Renaissance says there's no sound. Kind of like a Starbucks. Well, yeah, it is like a Starbucks. In fact, there is a Starbucks. Starbucks is just right over there. Yep, you can hear. Okay, great. So it looks like the sound issue is Renaissance. Sorry, Renaissance. Anyway, I'm just here at the train station. No trains yet. It's still too early in the morning. New subscriber. Oh, Christinella. New subscriber, just found you today. Love the channel. Well, thank you, Christinella. I hope I'm saying you right. Wait, Crystalina. Hello, Crystalina. I'm glad you found the channel. Welcome. I appreciate it. You can hear. Thank you for letting me know, Crystalina. And Renaissance resolved the problem. Great. So this is, don't worry, there's no danger of me getting run over by any trains here. It's too early in the morning. They'll start running in about 20 minutes. So anyway, I'm headed to this park right over here. Cross carefully. It's the park next to the Zen Buddhist temple. You guys want to see the Zen Buddhist temple? Let's go take a look at that real quick. This is where I was headed. Some of you, okay, Heather, you got it. Heather says yes. Some of you, if you look far enough back on my channel, this channel, you'll find I have an interview with a Zen Buddhist priest who speaks English really well. And here comes a guy on a bicycle. Let me turn so I'm not recording him directly while he passes me. Anyway, this is his temple. This is his temple's graveyard. And he's a really nice guy. He does all kinds of his English is so good because he does all kinds of volunteer work. You have to go check. Oh, all right, Heather. It's called something like, just if you search on my channel for interview, you'll find it. Because I think the word interview alone will do it. And the thumbnail has me and this very kind-looking Buddhist priest. And this is the farmyard next to his place and where they sell the vegetables. This is where you put the money in the slot. Yeah, good morning, Jesus. There you go. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. We'll walk through the temple because I don't want to disturb anybody in the temple. Here we go. Let's walk through. We'll make a round trip through. This is a Zen Buddhist temple. This is where the priest lives with his family. That's the temple. And just as a nod to the way Japanese are, Buddhism is one religion, Shinto is another religion. This is a Buddhist temple. This is a Shinto shrine. So you get two religions in one. This gate here, this is where I interviewed him. I was hiding from the rain, walking home from work, because I used to work just down the road. And I got caught in a sudden rainstorm, and I stood right here under this alcove, waiting out the rain, right exactly where I'm standing. And he pulled up and parked and got out, and he started talking to me in perfect English. Real nice guy. And so there's an interview. It's one of the, it's a really popular video on my channel back in the day, my interview with him about his life. But check it out if you like. Oh, one more thing. These are called Roku Jizo. There's 6 of them. And the reason that there's 6 is that they guide you through the six levels of the afterlife. Anyway, let's walk through the other side, go to the park, and I'll start my usual morning routine, but I'll be quiet as I walk through. All right. Okay, let me begin in earnest. This is my Good Life meditation, an exercise that I do every morning, a little bit after waking up, to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any notable challenges or opportunities that I met. I plan for the coming day. I recite the 8 objectives of my creed. I ready myself for death. And that's what I'm about to do. So I won't be reading comments from now until I finish, as I just do my usual spiel. Isn't this an amazing big giant tree? There's a couple of them here. It's a beautiful little park. I like to come to this park when I'm doing this outdoors because it's very, very open and lots of space, and I can talk at my normal volume, and I'm not going to disturb anybody because there's nobody here. So I'll set the camera up right over here under this enormous tree. And let me get my notebook out. There we go. And pop open my can of coffee. Shake it up a little bit. Oh, that's very sweet. Wow. Oh, that's a bitter coffee for those of you who like bitter coffee. Golden Drip by Georgia. That's good for if you want the bitter and the sweet together. Just like life, right? Man, I feel like I'm gonna get rained on. Which is fine. I can just go back to the temple, right? Okay. So, here we go. Let's get started. First, welcome to new subscribers. And also let you know that although this video is happening in Japan, you just saw a good glimpse of Japan. Normally, I don't usually talk about Japan much in this particular video, my Good Life meditation, because this is really just an exercise for me. It's my journal to talk about the last 24 hours and how where I stumbled and where I did good, and try to learn from my mistakes. So I'm going to go over a few things that were noteworthy from yesterday, particularly looking at how I was able to utilize the objectives, the principles in my creed, which I call the good life, in pursuit of the objectives that I seek for my life. I'll also go over the 8 objectives of the creed to, align myself with them, and then I'll tell you what I'm planning to do for today. But take first another swig of this coffee. I don't know if you can hear the wind through the leaves up there. It's really nice, and there's this the heady atmosphere. The air is warm with spring, yet there's this, is it ozone of something like that, of the rain? We had rain last night. There's this ozone, I guess, would be from lightning, but there's just this, the air is delicious. Oh my gosh. if you were to, if I was, I don't, of course, believe in heaven. I shouldn't say of course, because I always talk about my lack of belief in the spiritual or any afterlife. But if heaven was a real place, I would imagine this is how the air would feel. You'd wake up and suddenly you're in heaven, like, wow, this is paradise. Okay, let's get on with it. So I have, for the last 24 hours, I have 3 notes. One says PEF, the other says Leaky Faucet, and the other says Garden Gravity. So let's talk about those. First, PEF is code that I use to talk about this. Oh, by the way, I'm Kurt. I'm a 60-year-old retired guy living in Japan with my 60-year-old retired Japanese wife, and who just sent me a message. She saw something that I sent her. She must be up right now. And we're 5 months into retirement here, and it's been an interesting journey, the experience of retirement. It's not as easy as I would have imagined, and it's interesting because people don't talk about it very much. So I didn't really have a lot of heads up that it would be a challenge. But now that I'm talking about it, people that are going through the process and are ahead of me, my retirement senpai, are coming out of the woodwork to tell me, yeah, these things you're experiencing, Kurt, these are normal. So I'm talking about them a lot because maybe will they help me to get over it, help me to get through this. It is, and it sounds strange to say to get through this. Does it sound ungrateful to say get through being retired? It's harder than you think, because it's like you're kind of left on your own trying to sort out purpose in life when you no longer have the distraction of work or raising a family anymore. Anyway, you've all heard this. If you've seen these videos, I've gone over this over and over and again. Anyway, what has emerged in 5 months, in the last 30 days, is this thing I call the peaceful, easy feeling. It's this moment when the transition from trying to fill up the day with stuff to do to just being able to kind of relax and enjoy it a little more. And maybe that comes more easily to some people. Maybe some people just live their whole life that way. I'm not one of them. I've always been an anxious, busy, bustling dormouse of a man. And so peaceful, easy feeling, PEF, is a new experience for me. And it's coming in flits and starts. It comes and it arrives for a couple of hours for one day, and then I won't see it again for 2 days. Yesterday, it was there almost the whole half a day in the afternoon. Especially when I was out working in the garden, there's just this meditative sense of peace out there. Had my little dog, we had the garden, we had the weeding that I was doing. I was building a bamboo trellis for the tomatoes. It was textbook retirement, what you imagine retirement would be like, right? This textbook of, out in the garden, away from it all. I was even at one point listening to the news from back from the States, and just it was like watching a spectator sport from a distance, right? Something interesting, but you're so far away that you don't feel like you're connected with it anymore. So that was interesting, and that's in a kind of like a voyeuristic way of it's just, it almost becomes a spectator sport. Which kind of explains how it used to be a mystery to me when so many old people that I would see when I was in my 50s and my 40s, and I would be so engaged in all of the life. I would see a group of old women walk by on the street, so huddled together in their little chit chat together with one another, and like I didn't even exist. And now I'm gaining that feeling. It's like you graduate from, when you retire, you graduate from to use a word that I like to use a lot, from the paradigm of the workaday world and the engagement world, and you don't have to participate in that anymore, and you just kind of hold it all at a distance. And now I feel it. It's also maybe helps to explain why so many of the old people I met when I worked in the retirement home when I was in college didn't seem to really give such a damn about no longer being in the fray, in the midst of it all. You'd have the occasional oldster that would really pine for, their success as a businessman or their, the fulfilled life that they had in whatever they were doing. But a lot of them didn't. They were just fine just with not being a part of that anymore. That's part and parcel of the PEF feeling. It's like being able to see it all happening without feeling, necessarily engaged with it. To give you a slightly different example, Our daughter called us last night, called her mother in particular. I came downstairs to hear the conversation, and they were talking about Emily's work. And of course, now she's just started. Our daughter is 24 years old. She's living in Tokyo. She started her job, her first day of work last week, or her first career level job after university began last week. And she called with a status report today, which really was less of a status report, or last night, which was less of a status report than her kind of telling my wife about the challenges and the difficulty of it all. And I felt that same PEF. Well, actually, after that, Yumiko and I went for a walk. And on the walk, I was telling her, man, I'm certainly glad that, I feel for our daughter. Because it's new. She's the new person at the career, at the corporation. They're going to put a lot on her shoulders. And that's to be expected, right? That's welcome to the workaday world. And her complaints to her mother were not undue, and they weren't over the top or anything. It was just venting, right? You need someone to vent to sometimes. But at the same time, and I told my wife, and it didn't quite come through. Maybe it sounded like I was being insensitive to her, but what I said was, I feel for our daughter, yet I'm really glad that I don't have to be a part of that world anymore. Because you forget sometimes being retired, what that's like, and then you get a reminder when someone reminds you of what it's like, and it's like, well, thank God I'm not a part of that anymore. And my wife kind of gave me a look like, you should be more sensitive to our daughter. And I was like, well, I was kind of thinking at the meta level above, right? Yeah, she's right. And I am. But at the same time, I'm not. It's just, it's like everybody gets their turn. Everybody gets their turn at the pushing at the grindstone, right? All right, so that was that. PEF was back in spades yesterday. The other thing was, Leaky Faucet. This was an interesting one, I think. We bought an old house here in Japan, and a faucet sprung a leak yesterday. Now, I'm not a handy guy, so I don't know how to do things, but I knew, and I told Yumiko the night before that I would fix it. This guy, like, he can fix anything. Now, that's the kind of thing that in the past would be, I'm talking like 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. DIY projects, I've never been a DIY guy because I get pissed off when things don't work. Really, really mad. In the past, I would really get mad. It's like, my dad was like that too. He would like throw his tools down, it wouldn't work and stuff. And so here I am, the first leaky faucet of the house, and I told my wife I would fix it. Now, I knew I was going to fix it the night before last. So I prepared myself using the tools of my Good Life Creed. First of all, I enlisted reason. I said, okay, Kurt, come up with a plan of action for how you're going to deal with this. And I wrote down the steps of disassembly. The water was already turned off for that device, that appliance. The disassembly, the examination, and I decided I would wait for a time when Yumiko was out. Because one of the things that I knew that kind of, for lack of a better term, triggers me to be upset is if I'm working on something and it doesn't go to plan and people are watching. I knew from past experience that was the case. So I decided to wait until Yumiko went over to her dad's house to prepare his lunch. So I said, I'll do it then when she's gone. I'll have the place to myself. I'll have my tools. I'll have the time. I'll go through the disassembly. And then I'll examine the situation and plan the path forward. See, I reasoned it all out ahead of time, a plan of action. So even though I waited all through the morning, and then when Yumiko went off, I didn't even tell her I was waiting. I said, and then when she took off, then I sprung into action. I prepared the stage in the room. I had the tools. I took everything apart, step by step, carefully going through things. I encountered a tricky bit, the kind of thing that would have pissed me off, and it didn't piss me off because I was ready. I had prepared myself. I said, Kurt, you're going to have at least one or two stumbles in this process that you should expect. And I reminded myself, this is where it's good to be old sometimes, that I couldn't even remember a single incident in the past of situations like this that I wasn't able to somehow overcome. And so I reminded myself, Kurt, your track record is that whatever stumbles, whatever happens along the way, you've always found a way to get through it. So, and you will with this. So there's no need to get upset. I had even planned out where I was going to go, which hardware store I was going to go, and I even had planned out which person I wanted to talk to at the hardware store, because I knew there was this one place that has this really knowledgeable guy, and I think he was working yesterday, so I could go talk to him if I needed to, because I needed to get to take it apart, and then I wanted to put some sealant on the gasket thing to make it a better seal. You can see where all this is headed. Turns out I didn't even need to do that. I found the problem. I was able to clean things up, resealed it all up, and it all worked. It was problem solved. I fixed it, and then I was even able to reassemble the hardware of the cabinet, which I had to take apart with only one small problem, which I caveated. To hell with it. So, and I even told Yumiko, I said, "There's this one thing I couldn't get the door to quite close just the way it did before." And to fix it, I would have had to take everything apart again. And Yumiko was like, to hell with it. So you could hardly notice. It was the kind of thing you wouldn't even notice unless you were spotting for it. So that's another case where, not seeking after perfection necessarily, but good enough, right? So that was a big one. So that leaky faucet, to my mind, this is a case where I used hashtag reason. Whenever I say hashtag, I'm talking about, and then in the title I'm referring to one of the principles of my creed or one of the objectives. So hashtag good use of time. It was a good use of time for me to work on this. Hashtag reason. I used reason to come up with a plan for this operation. Hashtag social principle. I utilized the fact of the timing that my wife would be gone so that there would be no one looking over my shoulder, which I knew would only heighten my anxiety. Hashtag fortitude. Well, fortitude isn't a principle. It's part of something. I think that's enough, and I got the job done. So good. So some might say, well, you're thinking too much about it, Kurt. But what I was trying to do was, yeah, maybe I am thinking too much about it. But it doesn't come natural to me to just do stuff, right? If I just do stuff, I get upset when they don't go the way I want them to go, and things never go quite the way you want them to go. So if my thinking things through allows me to find a path that is more reasonable, that reduces the amount of stress for myself and those around me. My wife would not have enjoyed it if I was getting upset. She wouldn't, she basically left the house with a leaky faucet and came back with a fixed faucet and a husband that didn't lose his cool. That's better for everybody, right? Yeah. So I'm going to mark myself that 5 stars for that one. So I give myself a star ranking. That was 5 stars. So I go back a day on my little book here, go back 1 page and give myself 5 stars for the day yesterday. That's a good sign. So I'm not giving myself 5 stars. I don't rank the day according to what I did. It's not like I say, okay, I'm going to do A, B, and C, and then I did A, B, and C, and I get the stars. No, I get stars for how I handled the hard stuff. Did I do well in the hard stuff, or did I lose it? Was I not mature and sober-minded in my approach? And I was. Okay, so the next thing is guard and gravity. I think I already talked about this already. This overwhelming sense of really a peaceful feeling in the garden yesterday. Yumiko and I were out. A couple of notes from the garden. We were out in the garden. I asked her to come out to help me think about how to prune we had planted tomatoes, and I noticed there's some shade in the afternoon on the tomatoes. Prune this enormous chestnut tree that's blocking the late afternoon sun. And while we were standing there thinking about it, I heard this buzz around my head. And this giant queen suzumebachi, the Japanese giant hornet, was circling my head. I know what it was doing. It was looking for a place to build a nest. Not in my ear, please. So that was interesting. We also, we decided how to prune the tree. And we also decided where we're going to put a seating area in the garden next to the river. It's so beautiful. Oh, you can hear the gurgle of the stream and look at the plants. So that's all there is from yesterday. Now the creed consists of the following 8 objectives. Number 1, to be always ready to die, to have my affairs in order, my relationship sound, and my life's work complete. Number 2, to make good and effective use of my time, to not waste my days. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That means I need to have a good toolkit of principles that I can utilize in getting through the hard bits in life, and then objectives that I can strive for. 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions so that I react well to the challenges of the day. That's what I was doing with the preparation for the work yesterday, was setting the stage so that I could have good emotional reactions, that I was prepared for the difficulties, that I had a plan of action, that I expected to fall and then climb back up. 5 is to perform good actions relative to my creed. Number 6 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities. Number 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number 8 is to keep my balance in both my mind and my body. Now, as for today, I have 3 things I'm going to do today. I'm a little bit behind on my email. I get a lot of correspondence. It's interesting. I get a lot of correspondence. It's always been the same type of correspondence I'm going on 18, 19 years now on YouTube. I get these long emails from 20-something young men and women telling me about they're at this juncture in life, like kind of like the one my daughter is in, trying to find their way forward, and they find my videos and they just write to me to tell me about the junctures in their life. And so I like to give those, and I've been getting those forever. They just come every week. It's a whole other layer to this whole involvement thing. I make these videos to the public, I make the other videos, and then I get all these correspondence on the back end from people who just want to talk to me personally. So I need to spend some time on that. I'm a little bit behind. I have a couple of emails to respond to. That falls behind because I need time to carefully read what people write and then give careful and considered responses, because these are people at the young junctures of their life, right? If I don't, I hate to say it this way, but it is this way because they tell me. A little nudge from me, one way or the other, could have, great consequence. It sounds like I'm flattering myself that I have a lot of sway, but it is, because when I was in my early 20s, I was really lost, and I had no one. It was earlier than 20s. It was late teens. And my family had fallen apart. I had no role models, and I was lost. And I was really, really lucky that I read Walden by Henry David Thoreau. That became my guidepost. That became the North Star for me to shoot towards to develop a life. And sometimes I feel like I've got that same responsibility now when these young people write to me and they say, like, I'm just out of high school. I'm wondering about what to do. I saw your videos talking about the challenges that you faced, and here's kind of some options, Kurt. I feel like if I don't carefully consider how I respond to that, and I don't usually offer advice. I don't say take route A or route B. Usually what I try to do is ask people to think about what their values are and which of the courses better align with their value set. You know what I mean? So it's like, what almost always happens is they don't have a value set, right? They're like, oh yeah, I guess I don't know what my values are. So that sets them on the course to maybe consider what's important in their life and what objectives they would want to have and what principles they might use to get them there. And if they don't have any of their own, well, then I point them to my book, because I have laid out 8 objectives and 35 principles that hopefully might be able to give. They are very secular oriented objectives and principles. I'm not touting anything that they have to buy by faith or anything like that. It's just these are just things that work, right? So hopefully that'll help. Anyway, so I have to get to my email, so I'm going to do that this morning. I'm going to get back to the garden, and today, thank goodness, we're getting internet today. We've owned this house since the middle of January, and it's taken February, March, April. It's May. It's like 3 months for us to get internet, because they had to. Apparently, no one in our neighborhood has ever signed up for this really high-speed internet service that we want to have. So they had to petition the utility pole owners and the property owners of the land that's got the way between, and they had to come out and do a survey. And we saw them. The trucks came and they ran the lines over the telephone poles, staged them outside our house, and today they're going to come and install it. So I guess we're going to be the first people in our neighborhood to have this super fast internet, and they're putting routers on both the second floor and the first floor, so we're going to have fast internet. I'm going to be able to do this from home if I want to. And that's it. And what did I see over there? What happened there? Aaron donated $10. Thank you, Aaron. This is for your next beer and ice cream run, Kurt. On my side, I will throw back my own beer and drink to you and your family's health. Thanks, big brother. Thank you, Aaron. I really do appreciate that. And I will indeed do exactly as you suggested. Tonight, I will, you know what I'll do? Tonight, during our dog walk, I will take Yoko and Yumiko to Mini Stop, and we'll get ice cream. And I'll tell them that this ice cream was compliments of Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. I really do appreciate that. That's really nice. Let me catch up on other comments. Let's see. Okay, we got there. We talked about the temple grounds that Missy Boo said. Heather says, how's the house renovations going? Thank you, Heather. The house, it's all done. The bathroom, oh, starting to rain. Oh, better walk. Hold on. So the house renovations are almost done. Well, at least you know the first round, right? Because we did the new Japanese bath, the senmenjo, the laundry room and changing area, the senmendai, the sink basin, the the toilet is done. Yumiko has finished staining the what is it? It's the poison plant, the hemlock paneling yesterday, and I think, yeah, then that's it. So now, but we still have a lot of work to do for decoration, right? And we still have a lot of work to do on the rest of the house. We'll spend the rest of our lives, you know, decorating stuff, but the major work is all done. And the garden is well underway, et cetera, et cetera. So thanks for asking. I'm gotta catch up with where I was. Okay, good morning, Kurt. Hello, Elvina. Hello, Elvina. Good morning. Heather says you've always been on the go. Always, never stop. I'm sure I'm going to be rolling around in my grave. It's a kind of peace. It's hard to describe. Yeah, that's a good point. It is hard to describe, and it's fleeting, but it's coming more and more often. Hopefully, it'll become more the way of things. Our news is basically a spectator sport now. Yeah, that's how it feels. Exactly. Hi, Kurt and everyone. Just checking in to say hi. Hello, Robert. There's Robert. Heather. Hey, just wondering, is everything okay with the eBay store? It says all sold out. You know, Heather, I took it all down. I just there's a gentleman up here. Hold on. Let me get rid of this can. I don't want to make him nervous. Just a sec. See, I could deposit the can at the same place I bought it. So I took the store down. I'm just too busy. And so I might move everything. I don't know. I have yet to decide. It's kind of like, I never really started it in earnest. I'm still just kind of finding my way, feeling my way around with it. We're going to an antique store Yumiko found a really neat antique fair. And Yoko's going to go with us. We're going to go there next week on Sunday, or this weekend on Sunday. It's funny. So I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not sure if I really am ready to do this, if I want to do this. You know, the opening of the store and your patronage are greatly appreciated. So we'll see. Why am I hurrying? Who cares if I get wet? Yay, ice cream. Heather says, I'm glad you're doing good, Kurt. Been a while since I caught a live. Lofty Castle. Wow, I haven't seen you for a long time. Oops, somebody dropped their umbrella. There we go. Lofty Castle, how you been over there? I see your posts once in a while, and looks like you've got a lot going on in your life. But miss hearing from you. Let's see, Heather. That's understandable once everything settles back down again. Yeah. Renaissance, I'm still keeping up with your videos. Thanks for posting them. Keep up the good job. The garden is coming along nicely. The senmenjo looks really good. Thank you so much, Renaissance. Well, everybody, I think I'll stop for now as the rain begins to come down. Look at this lovely old Japanese home. Isn't that beautiful with the pine arching over the entryway there? You have to keep an eye out for the little Jizo for me. Okay, Heather. now that I know, I thought it was Daruma that you were interested in, but it's Jizo. Let me hang on just to make sure that that's the case. Because I thought you had mentioned that you were interested in a little Daruma, but is it Daruma, you know, the guy, the Zen figure, or is it Jizo, the Buddhist figure? And Daruma. Okay, both. You're interested in both. Okay, good. I will definitely keep that in mind. I was out with Yumiko at the last flea market, and I told her, I said, Heather's interested in a little Daruma. Now it's a small one, right? You're not interested in just a big one, like a little one, like a ceramic one or a wood one. Is that right? This was a clinic at one time, but they've all closed up. Size doesn't really matter. Very good. All right. I can make a joke, but I won't. Now I'm blushing. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to sign off of that. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Be safe, but not too safe. Look at me, I'm blushing. Take care. And thanks again so much, Aaron. I really appreciate it. I'm going to take the family out, like I said, for ice cream this evening. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.